Hello everyone, I'm Riia from Zervant, and today we'll go through how to create this invoice template in Excel. If you'd rather skip that part and just start using the template, you can find a link to the download page from the video summary below. We also have plenty of other free templates for small businesses to use. And once you feel like your business has outgrown Excel templates, I highly recommend checking out our software. The basic version is free and should already offer plenty of functionality to make managing your invoicing easier. But for now, let's jump into Excel. Let's start by defining the canvas for our template. So select everything by clicking on this corner over here and change the background color to light gray. Then select everything from A1 to G39 and change the background color for this area to white. And at this point we should also change the font to Arial. An invoice should clearly state that it's an invoice. So let's write invoice to A2. And change the font size of this cell to 46. Bold the text, and then we want to select the color for the text. At this point you can use whatever color you like and then use that for all of the highlights in the invoice, but we're gonna go with the specific shade of turquoise with this hex code, so 05B3C2. Okay. Next, we want to create the line from A3 to G3. So select borders, then choose the line color. In this case, we will use the from recent colors to color that we just set up. And then choose line style. Go with the boldest one on the bottom here. And then just press on this icon to create a bottom border for these cells. And voila. Then we want to add the logo for the header. So you probably have some image on your computer. In our case, we have this one here and just put it there. Next, we'll add our company details. So click on A5 and write your company name there, the actual company name. And then increase the font size to 12 and bold the field. Into A6 we'll write address line 1, to A7 address line 2, to A8 city and postcode, and to A9 phone, and with whatever number. Then select everything from A6 to A9. Decrease the font size to 10 and make it italic. After this, we want to add the customer details. So to A11 we just write 2 and change the font size to 12 again. And bold this. The A12 we'll write the buyer company, buyer name, then buyer company name. To A13 the name of the buyer contact person. To A14 their address. To A15 city and postcode. And again, change the formatting. For A12 for all of these we'll change the font size to 10, and for A12 we'll bold that, and for A13 to A15 we'll just make it italic. Almost forgot that we should also change the font color for these. So select everything from A12 to A15 and go for this shade of gray here. The same goes for A6 to A9 and select the darkest gray from here. Next we'll add the invoice details. So select everything from F1 to G17 and change the background color for these cells to light gray. Then we want to write invoice date to F12, invoice number to F13, client reference to F14, purchase order to F15, and due date with all capitals to F16. Then let's select all of these and change the font color to the dark gray we used last time, and then bold the last due date field. At this point it maybe makes sense to widen these a bit, so we'll be playing with the layout more later, but just to make it a bit clearer, and change the alignment for these cells to right. Then we'll start adding the details. So for this cell, you can always just write it yourself, or you can write equals today and brackets to have it always be the current date. For invoice number, use whatever is the next number. And for client reference, well, we'll just go with client 1 in this case, but again, use your own. Purchase order, something, due date. For this one, well, if you want to use an automatic formula by default, then you can go with something like today plus, say, 30 days. So it's always going to be that day, but you can manually change that also. Then change the alignment for all of these cells again to the right. And now we see that it's on the right edge of the cell. That's not going to look very nice, so let's make one more change. So select everything from G12 to G16. Right click on the selection and go to Format Cells. Here we go to the Alignment tab and make sure that we have right indent selected here, and add 1 to this field and click OK. So now we get a bit of a margin between the text and the cell border. Let's also reduce the font size for all of these cells to 10, except for cell G16, which we want to keep at 11 and then bold, because this is kind of the key piece of information. Then let's also move the logo back to the right side. Next we'll write additional information to A19. Increase the font size to 12 and make that bold. Then select everything from A20 to F20. Merge these cells, align the text left and then top, and you can add a bit of height to these cells, maybe two rows, and then here you can write any additional instructions or terms that you use in your invoicing, and change the font size for this to 10, and then use the darker shade of gray that we've used before. All right, next we'll move to the actual table part of the invoice. So select everything from A21 to G21 and click on the bottom border icon over here. We should have the same settings that we had when we were creating this line over here. So just clicking on that should give us what we want. Yes. Then we select everything from A22 to G22 and change the line a bit. So line color, let's use the light gray. And line style, we'll choose the first one, so a bit slimmer line. And click on the bottom border. So now we have a very light gray line here. We'll select everything from A23 to G23 this time and do the same thing. Click on the border icon. Do the same for the next line. then one after that, and then once more. So we'll have 4 lines in this invoice. If you need more, you can make more, but then you might have to have a different row height for these rows, because we're gonna now select all of these. So from row 22 to row 26. So we can press on 22 and then hold Shift and press on 26 to select them all. Then right click on somewhere here and click on row height, and we want this to be 30. So do that. Then while we have this selected, we should go up here and align everything in the middle and change the font size to 10, and that's it. Next, select the row A, or the first row, so A22 to G22, and bold that. And now we can write our table headers. So first one is description. Then to B22 we write QTY as in quantity. C22 is unit. Next one is unit price. Then VAT percentage. Then VAT, and finally total. At this point, we might want to do some small changes to the layout. So let's start by widening column A, which holds the description information. Let's do the same for D, so that the VAT header doesn't start right after unit price. Then decrease the width of column F, so that the VAT column is not quite that wide. And now we see something funny happening here. To fix this, let's select everything from A11 to F17. Then click on the small arrow up here and click merge across. That should fix it partly, but we still need to clean up here. Let's change the background color to light gray and light gray. All right. Now we can start inputting the actual invoice details. So start by writing client work or whatever you want to invoice for to cell A23. Then the quantity of this is 5 in our example invoice. The unit is hours. Unit price 60. VAT 20% with a and then go to A24, write products. That's not products. Quantity 10. Unit pieces. Unit price 105. VAT 20 again. And at this point we want to fix the layout a bit again. So let's select everything from A23 to G26 and change the alignment to left. Next we'll move on to the formulas. So let's click on F23. Here we want to calculate how much the VAT for this line will be. So let's start by writing equals. Then we want to multiply the quantity with the unit price and then with the VAT. So B23 times D23 times E23 and click OK. Then to the total column, we calculate the total without the VAT. So that's going to be B23 times D23, and we're happy with that. Then you can select both F and G23 and pull from the corner down here to the bottom row, and now we should have the same formulas implemented on all rows. We have the 0 here. To get rid of that, we need to do some formatting. So select everything from again from F23 to G26 and go up here, click on this arrow and more number formats. This part might be a bit tricky for the less seasoned Excel users, but just follow what I do and it should be fine. Let's start by clicking on custom. So I'm going to create a custom number format where the pound sign is before the number. So empty whatever is in type, and we'll write here first pound, then a space, hashtag, space, hashtag, 0, comma, 00, then a semicolon, then minus, pound, space, hashtag, space, hashtag, 0, comma, 00, semicolon, and semicolon. So what we actually did here, we defined first the number format for positive numbers, so this part. Then the next part is a number format for negative ones, and finally the format for when the value is 0. So we want 0 to be empty in this case. Now click on OK, and voila, we have empty cells down here. We'll want to use the same formatting for the unit price column. So select the cell with the formatting that we want, then click on Format Painter on top left, and then select everything from D23 to D26, and we should have the correct formatting for the whole column. Next, let's do the total calculations. So to F27, let's write subtotal. To F28, total VAT, and to F29, total amount due. At this point, we could select all rows from 27 to 29, again holding down Shift, right-click on that, and adjust the row height to 22. Then select them, keep them selected, and change the vertical alignment to middle. Then select everything from F27 to F29 and change the text alignment to right, and right click on that selection, click Format Cells, and change the alignment to right indent. So you have to go to the Alignment tab and write one here. Okay. And then select everything from F27 to G28, change the font size to 10, and bold the text. Then select F29 and G29, change the font size to 12, bold the text, and use the highlight color that you've defined before. Then do the actual formulas. So here we'll write the subtotal, so equals sum, and then you can just pull from G23 to G26 or whatever is the last row on your table. Close the bracket, and we have a sum. Then for the VAT, again, equals sum, open bracket, select everything from the F column, close bracket. And finally, here we'll just sum up subtotal plus total VAT. And we'll want to align this to the right. So select these cells and click on Align Left. All right, I see that the total amount due is not formatted correctly. So to fix that, we'll select that cell, click on the small arrow again, go to more number format, custom, and then we try to find the format that we created. It's usually on the bottom of this list. So we can see it here and click on OK. And now it looks better. Then all we have left is the footer part of the invoice. So select everything from A32 to G32. And we want to add a line here. So go to line style. I'm going to make it a bit thicker than the previous one that you used, but we might as well use the same color. So select this line here and click on bottom border. If we're happy with how that looks, we can continue. To A34, we'll write registered address. Then below that, we'll write whatever is our street address. Address line 1. Then after that, address line 2, and below that put city and postcode. Then to B34 we'll write contact information, and below that contact name, underneath that phone, and here we can actually use equals cell A9 because we have the phone number there. Then email, and then your first, last, at company.com or whatever. Then to F we'll write payment, or F38 we'll write payment details. It's very difficult. The F35 bank name. Below that sort code. Underneath that account no. And to G34 we'll write whatever the bank name is. Actual bank name, sort code, whatever, account number. Then all we have left is a bit of formatting, so select everything from A34 to F34, bold this text, and select everything from A35 to G37, and change the color of this to the dark gray we used before. Then select everything and align the text left, and change the font size to 8. Okay, it looks a lot better. Then select everything from A39 to G39 and choose the background color, sorry, wrong button, to the highlight color that we used before. Now we basically have everything we need, and it's just about fixing the margins and adding a bit of space here and there. So before we do that, let's select the whole invoice. So from A1 to G39 and go to page layout and click on set print area and set print area. Now we see where this is cutting if we would print it. So this line here means that all of this will be fitting on one page, and this would be printed on the second one. So we need to fix that somehow, making the columns a bit narrower. So start by pulling the G column a bit. Okay, did not fix that. Then we might need to make the B column a bit slimmer. Still didn't fix that. Then try with the C one. We don't need that much space for unit. And there we have it. Now it all fits on one paper. We can see that the highlight down here is not fitting, so we could actually delete row 31. So select that and click on delete. Then I think we might want to add a bit of space between your company and your customers' details. So increase the width here. Okay, we have the same problems before where we're not fitting on a paper, so we can make these a bit smaller. And yeah, you can do these kind of tweaks to the template if you want, or you can even make these rows a bit lower to have more space somewhere else. But yeah, that's basically it.